In the 7.1 set, you'll be using your compass and straight edge to complete some constructions. On problem 3, the first one, they're going to ask you to bisect the angle. Bisect means to cut in half. So we're going to take angle B and we're going to cut it in half. Down to number 4, we're going to make a copy of segment DE. That means we're going to make a segment with the same length. And then on number 5, we'll be copying the angle. We're going to make a congruent angle to that angle that's given. Now, all of these constructions are based on the properties or the definition of a rhombus. If we can turn these into rhombi, we'll be able to get what we want. And the way that works is, for instance, on number 3, they want us to bisect the angle. Well, if you think about the properties of a rhombus, one of them is that the diagonals of a rhombus bisect the angles. So if we can turn that piece, that angle B and side BA into parts of a rhombus, then we can take the diagonal, draw that diagonal in, and it's going to cut angle B in half. It's going to bisect the angle. Or down on number 4, when it says copy the segment, well, the definition of a rhombus is all sides are congruent. If we can make that one of the 4 sides of a rhombus, then the other 3 sides are all congruent, and we can actually make 3 copies. Down on number 5, when it says copy the angle, well, opposite angles of a rhombus are congruent. That's one of its properties. So if we can, again, turn that into a rhombus, that angle down there in that bottom left-hand corner would match the one that we're going to construct on the upper right-hand corner. So all of these can be done with making a rhombus. So whatever steps we go through when I help you with number 3, we can just use those same steps to do most of what we want to do for 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so let's go through and let's do number 3. Well, we want to make it into a rhombus. So I need 4 sides are equal. That's what a rhombus is. We need 4 congruent sides. Well, let's start by taking segment BA, and because it's smaller than BC, this would be a good one to use. We'll take BA, and we'll mark that same length down where segment BC is, and we'll just use that little piece that we draw, and that'll be 2 of the sides. I then need to draw 2 more sides, and I can have 4 sides that are congruent. That's going to make my rhombus. All right, so grab your compass. When we're doing the rhombus, we set the compass 1 time. Because all 4 sides are equal, we only set it to that one length. Whatever that one side we know, in this case BA, we're going to set it that 1 time, and then all the circles we draw are going to be that same radius. We're never going to change the radius when we're drawing a rhombus because we want those lengths to be the same. So take the compass, put the point of the compass on B, and the pencil over at A. Set your radius. Now that you have the radius set to BA, draw a circle centered at B. I want to know where would that length BA transfer over to segment BC. So I drew my circle in, and that length BA is where the circle is going to touch on BC. So this new point would be the same length from B that A is. And this becomes the second side of my rhombus. So now I have 2 sides are equal. I need 2 more. All right, so that new red point, I need to find that last vertex that's going to be the same distance from that red point to B or from B to A. Well, the way I'll do that is I'll take my compass, move the point of the compass on that new red point, and draw another circle. Don't change the radius. We want them always to be the same length for the rhombus. So just take your compass, move it over, put the point of the compass at that new red point, and draw another circle. That 4th vertex is somewhere in that circle. Somewhere on that circle, up in that upper right-hand corner. But I need to know where is it also the same distance from A. So one more time, take your compass, don't change the radius, just move it over to A and draw 1 more circle. Wherever this new circle intersects our blue circle, that's where that 4th vertex is. Do you see where it's going to be? Where did my last 2 circles intersect? Well, it's got to be this point over here because that's where I want my 4th vertex. It's where it's the same distance from A as it is that same distance from that red point. Go ahead, draw in the rhombus. Now, the problem didn't say draw a rhombus. It said bisect the angle. Well, that's one of our properties. If we have a rhombus, we can draw that diagonal in, and that diagonal is going to bisect angle B. It's going to cut it into 2 equal pieces. Now, we're going to follow the same procedures for the others. All of these are based on the properties of the rhombus. If we draw a rhombus, we're going to get what we want. So, for instance, on number 4, it wants me to make a congruent segment to DE. Well, this time we only had 1 segment. We didn't have that second segment. So the angle's not fixed for us. So just take your straight edge, and from point D, just draw another segment like you had for DC. Just draw some length. It doesn't matter what angle you're using, because it doesn't tell us we have to use any particular angle. You choose. Just draw a segment from D, take your compass, set it to length DE, draw the circle, find where it intersects that new segment you just drew, and then just go through the same steps. Now, we won't need to draw the diagonal this time because it just says copy the segment. Once you have your rhombus drawn, like we did up above, just highlight the original segment and any one of the new segments, any of the new sides, because those will be the same length. Okay? All right, good luck finishing the rest of the set. Again, it's just taking that rhombus and just redrawing it, and taking the pieces you want.